some other news now. It's been 3 days since President Biden ordered U.S. military jets to shoot down a fourth flying object over North America. That took place just in the span of 8 days. And we haven't heard from him since. The pressure is now mounting on the president to explain why exactly these unprecedented steps were needed. Calls are also growing louder for the president and his administration to beef up their response to the toxic train disaster in East Palestine, Ohio. Governor Mike DeWine is now calling on Congress to change laws regarding how these trains are labeled, including the hazardous materials carried inside.
Yeah, the White House did say that on regards to the balloons and the incidents we saw concerning many Americans, that there's no evidence now that the three flying objects shot down by the military over the weekend were conducting surveillance for China. But still not clear today is what exactly they were and if they did pose a serious threat. Here are Republican Senators Marco Rubio and Tom Cotton reacting to yesterday's classified briefing they had on these objects. Take a listen.
If we have things flying over our airspace that is not ours, did not coordinate with us, and doesn't belong there, that is the definition of danger.
On the one hand, the administration is saying we don't yet know what these last three objects are, and we don't want to characterize until we recover them. But on the other hand, it wasn't a threat. Both of those things can't be true. So that's why it's urgent that President Biden resolve these contradictions.
Interesting comments after a top secret hearing, a classified hearing, that they're still looking for clarity. Let's get you out to our chief White House correspondent, James Rosen. James, good afternoon. Great to have you in. Many are wondering if the president will address these two major issues, you know, the objects and also this big train derailment.
Bianca and John, good afternoon. Let's start with the train derailment. White House officials say that officials from the Environmental Protection Agency and the National Transportation Safety Board have been on the ground in East Palestine, Ohio, since the day after 38 rail cars, 11 of them carrying hazardous materials, derailed and damaged another dozen cars with fire. Residents were evacuated for 5 days as technicians conducted controlled burns to dispose of chemicals. Forgive the noise behind us here at the White House. With reports of animals dying from toxic fumes, the EPA has been testing air quality and supporting Ohio state environmental officials with surface and groundwater testing. White House Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre said the president has been briefed on the situation. That led veteran White House correspondent George Condon, a past president of the White House Correspondents Association, to ask Jean-Pierre, quote, can we get some sense of whether there's a sense of urgency or concern about human life?
So look, we're always concerned about human life. That's what I said at the top, right? I said that our number one priority is the health and the safety of the community. That is our number one priority here. That's what EPA is doing on the ground.
Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg has also faced mounting criticism for failing to address publicly the East Palestine disaster for some 10 days. As for those shoot-downs of the Chinese spy balloon and the three unidentified objects, it's becoming increasingly clear, John and Bianca, that what is preventing the president from making some kind of comprehensive statement to the American people about that extraordinary series of events is that the White House and the intelligence community still don't have the answers they feel they need. Admiral Kirby has told us that they still haven't even formally designated the three additional objects as balloons. There is now some preliminary conclusion from the intelligence community that these three objects were probably benign, connected to commerce or research, and probably didn't warrant being shot down. And now the Washington Post is reporting that, in fact, U.S. officials have been tracking the Chinese spy balloon since the inception of its trip back on Hainan Island off of China's coast. And so now the president, if he were to make some statement about this entire sequence of events, would face questions about what U.S. intelligence knew about the Chinese spy balloon and when. John and Bianca.
Yeah, I mean, if you can't ask the questions directly to the president, we know you have been busy in the briefing room, James, and you'll be joining us later with some of your exchanges with Karine Jean-Pierre. Thanks, James. Appreciate it.